Well, the Eagles get whopped again. Hard to stomach. Embarrassed on Sunday Night Football by the Cowboys, but is all hope lost? Is this team salvageable, or have they been fully exposed? What is up, everybody? RB here. Welcome into A to Z Philly on a very tough Monday afternoon, evening, whenever you're getting around to watching this. I mean, I don't know how you're stomaching the day. I don't know how you're muscling through, because I was sitting there last night literally staring at the wall. That's how much this loss impacted me. I had no answers. I had a lot of questions and no answers, and we got the rant out on the post-game show, but I still feel like there's all this energy bundled up. In fact, I feel like Eagle fans may have more frustration than the players do, apparently, with the way they went out there and played that game last night. In fact, today we have another Eagle protester fan, and here's what Eagle Nation posted on Twitter. An Eagles fan is outside the NovaCare complex this morning with a "Fire Sean Desai" sign and 2 trash cans with "No Play Slay" and Bradbury. Obviously trying to imitate the guy who said "run the ball" last week, where Nick kind of laughed it off, et cetera, et cetera. But this is how pissed off Eagle fans are. Meanwhile, you got Slay last night retweeting this after losing by 20 points. And he had a lot to say last week with Seth Joyner. And, he's going to come back for sure. He's going to come back for sure, obviously. And, you got Darius Slay. He even reposted this already. And he says, y'all are tough for this one with laughing faces. I'm just tired of let's just play it off as a joke. No, tighten up, toughen up. You just got your ass handed to you 2 weeks in a row, and people are searching for the answers and the solution to this mess. So I'm tired of this kind of attitude. But anyway, that's where we sit, man. That's where we sit as Philadelphia Eagle fans. And upon staring at the wall for hours, I came up with a few things. The only 2 ways that I can see this thing being flipped and getting back in the right direction. And I will tell you those things. But I have a question for the people out there, okay? Is this season salvageable? Can the Eagles turn it back on the right track, or do you think their flaws are fatal? Are they done? Give me your thoughts down in the comment section. And before we jump into it all, a shout out to our sponsor of today's show, BetMGM. Enjoy all your favorite sports like never before at BetMGM. Sign up with the code ATOZPA and receive up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. When you register with BetMGM, you'll get instant access to parlay selection features, live betting options, player props, and daily boosted odds specials. And with BetMGM at your fingertips, every play and every game matter more than ever. Find out why BetMGM is the king of sportsbooks. Sign up today with the bonus code ATOZPA and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. I'll tell you what, it was a bad weekend for me on BetMGM. Thanks to really all the upsets this weekend. But let me tell you something, man. The Philadelphia Eagles losing this game, it was a different kind of hurt. Obviously, last week you get bounced by the Niners, and they were hungry for that game. They lived up to the hype. But then you come out against your division rival, one of the best rivalries in sports, and you get absolutely just thrown to the wayside like you're a piece of trash. No heart, no life. Where was it, man? And I have a lot of people to point at. I'm going to tell you the 2 ways I think this thing could get fixed. Number 1, the star players, the playmakers, more specifically on the defensive side. And I know last night the offense had literally no touchdowns. That's after A.J. Brown was talking up a storm this past week saying, you guys will see on Sunday, right? We'll get it back. We got a chip on our shoulder. And they didn't even score 1 touchdown, which is insane. But the defensive side of the ball has just been putrid. They have been consistently horrendous for the last several weeks. And the star players, right? Slay, Bradbury, the guys who went out and did everything you could to pay, need to step up. Every guy on the front line, right? Ever since Jalen Carter went down, it's like this defensive line disappeared. And Carter was amazing the first 5 weeks. He's got to step up. Fletch, BG, Josh Sweat, all these guys, nowhere to be found. So that's number 1. The players have to step up. But number 2, and I honestly put more blame on this, is the coaching. And I know people think that's like an easy target, an easy spot, but Sean Desai and Brian Johnson have been historically bad, and something needs to be said about hiring first-year coordinators with a team that's trying to go to the Super Bowl, right? The number 1 guy, and I put this out on Twitter last night, the number 1 guy that the Philadelphia Eagles miss is Shane Steichen. This is the same guy who took over an offense a couple years ago when the Eagles were 2-5. He did a 180. He started running the football. The Eagles muscled their way back to the playoffs. And then this past year, he took this offense and created another dimension and made them into a Super Bowl, a historic offense with all kinds of records broken. Shane Steichen is severely missed, and nothing personal against Brian Johnson. He's been here. He's seen it from a side perspective under Shane Steichen and this team, but he just can't do it, man. Shane Steichen has 7 wins right now with the Colts, with Gardner Minshew leading the way. It's crazy. Eagles miss Shane Steichen and everything he did for the scheme of this team. And then on the other side, you have Sean Desai, and shout out to ESP here on Twitter. He put this out. Sean Desai has been a defensive coordinator twice in his career, once with the Bears, once with the Eagles. He was also an associate head coach on defense with Seattle. And here are the results. 22nd in the league in points per game, 25th in points per game, and then 28th. His defenses have been bad, and he had us fooled for a while, and I was really starting to see him turn the corner. Great adjustments in game, right? Shut out the Rams in the second half. Great second half against Dallas and a couple other these teams. Miami shuts them out. And what happened? It's like everything is going away. The one staple of this defense in terms of stopping a run is no longer. The corners seem to be getting exposed every single game. You have no help on the back end, and maybe that's part of Howie Roseman as well. All right, the Eagles can't draft a linebacker. They let TJ Edwards walk. He's having a great year. I think he's leading the league in tackles. So, there are deficiencies in the roster, but I think when you look at last year, the year before, and really just in general, there are certain coaches that can elevate the level of talent, right? There's coaches that made TJ Edwards into a top-paid linebacker in the league, and Sean Desai and Brian Johnson just do not elevate this talent at all. My thing is more on the play calling, right? Sean Desai apparently doesn't know what a blitz is, kind of reminding me of Jonathan Gannon and Jim Schwartz at times. Then you have Brian Johnson on the other side, who, literally doesn't draw up anything creative at all. And Derek Gunn on Jacob Sports Today said the Eagles are desperate for a change as players told D-Gunn that the team is too predictable. Quote, look at our pass routes compared to the Cowboys. Our pass routes take too long to develop. Dallas gets their bleep out real quick. I said this a million times the last 5 weeks. You look at the Eagles, they do no pick routes, no rub routes. They do no pre-snap motion. They do nothing to get these guys going. It's always 1st and 10. Let's run it right up the gut, get nothing. Then let's do a quarterback keeper or a screen with Dallas Goedert last night, and then they just go away from him, right? How many times have I said, let's get AJ in the open space. Let's get him running yards after catch because he's unstoppable. They don't do that. 3rd and 5, let's throw it 20 yards down the sideline. Like, it's just gotten way too predictable. The Eagles have no creativity. You can literally call what they're doing. It feels like they run the same 15 plays every single game. And I just don't know. I expected Brian Johnson to turn the corner, and I guess I was wrong because he has not. He has not. It has been really, really bad. Eagles 2023 defense. Look at these, man. They're all in the 20s. I mean, is the defense too old? Are the players done? I mean, this was supposed to be the last hurrah. You're supposed to go back to the big game. And right now, the Eagles are just missing any type of confidence. I mean, they go out last night. They give up another 400-yard game almost. What was it, 394? Both teams had 9 possessions. Niners last week had 6 straight touchdowns. The Cowboys come out, and then they go, and score every possession in the first half. And they had, 3 touchdowns? Like, it's too much, right? You can't really stay in a game that way. And for weeks, the Eagles, because they were winning, we said they found a way to win, but they continued to have deficiencies, especially in the first half, and they just did nothing to stop it. The Eagles can't get off the field on 3rd down. 9 for 16 for the Cowboys last night. It was bad. And then really, like I said, in terms of the star players, I don't think AJ and Devontae are going to be fumbling every week, especially in Cowboys territory, but that can't happen, right? Especially when you talk that talk. They played historically bad for their, for themselves last night. For what we expect out of AJ and Devontae, they were very bad. Jalen Hurts, I mean, he did what he could, but he just doesn't seem decisive enough. It doesn't seem easy. He's not getting guys wide open like Shane Steichen did last year. I mean, it was just relentless against other defenses last year. It was way too easy, and they're just struggling. They're struggling bad. And, the Cowboys, I got to tip my cap. Cowboys and the Niners are good teams. Will the Cowboys still choke in the playoffs? Probably. Will the Niners be the best team? probably. But the Eagles have to fix this. The question is, can they do it? I told you the only two ways I think it can happen, and I think a shakeup would be really huge, right? When you switch up a play caller or do something like that on your team, it always injects life into your team. Will they have the balls to do it, though? That is a different question. I know Jeffrey Lurie did not look happy last night. He didn't look happy. And Fletcher Cox after the game, and there was a lot of quotes like this, but Fletcher's quote, "It's time to find out who the dudes in this locker room are." Right? Your back's against the wall now. Everybody's going to call you a fraud, say you got exposed. Which team will come out? You better win the last 4 games. You better win the last 4 games to still clinch the division and then even try to get back into the number 1 seed conversation. But now the battle is uphill, right? And the worst part of it is that you're supposed to be on that incline, getting to playing your best football at this time of the year. And the Eagles won all those games and now are playing their worst style of football. And it just doesn't look good. It has not really looked good all year. And for a team that has aspirations to get back to the big game, sure, they'll make the playoffs, but we want that Super Bowl trophy, and right now it just doesn't feel good. So you let me know down below. Do you think this Eagles team has been fully exposed? Are they done? Is there any way to fix this, right? No trade deadline anymore. That's passed. You signed Shaq Leonard, but can he fill these holes? Seems like there's a lot of them right now. Give me your thoughts down below. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. That being said, I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.